everybody, it's Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. Welcome to the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast, where we're scheduling around the Eastern Conference Finals. It's me, your man, MG Marcus Grant, joined by Michael F. Florio and Laquan Jones. Florio, you have a big grin on your face, understandably, because the Knickerbockers have moved on. They are 4 wins away from the Eastern Conference, or from the NBA Finals. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals. 4 wins away from the NBA Finals at this point.
I have watched the Knicks religiously since 2001. I have never seen them this far in my life. So, I'm loving this. And it's not like if they made it last year where it was like, okay, whoever won Knicks Pacers was just going to get dog walked by Boston. Like, this is a winnable series. They have home court. I've never been this excited as a basketball. Marcus, I don't know how you dealt with years of the Warriors doing this, because like every game seems to take a couple of days off my life.
Oh no, it is stressful. And especially when your team hasn't won, look, even when the Warriors were winning after they had won a couple, like I still got nervous and still got hyped for them. But that first one, I remember being in my apartment and like just pacing around, like I didn't sit down. I just paced around in my underwear with like a beer in my hand for seriously. And like, I remember, and it's probably not but I remember in my apartment complex, this woman had just moved in to an apartment in the complex, and she was like going around to everybody, like, people like introduced themselves and like was handing out she had like a lollipop or something like that. And, like she knocked on the door, and I'm sure I looked insane, right? Because I'm just like wandering around, pacing in my apartment. She introduced, I'm like, hi, hey, nice to meet you. Great, thanks. I take the lollipop and just like close the door real quick. And I'm sure she's like, that dude is a jerk. Like, I don't know if I ever saw her again after that moment. And like, once the game calmed down a little bit, I was just like, wow, that was really terrible of me.
I will say, I'm exactly how you described it. Like, I'm pacing in front of the TV. I'm not sitting. That's why Friday, when they won by 40, was so weird for me, because every Knicks playoff win comes down to the last minute. And I was just like, what do I do with, like, this feels like a preseason game right now. Like, it was weird, but I'm very happy.
Well, best of luck to the Knicks. Look, it is a winnable series against the Pacers. Have played well, no doubt about it, but very much a winnable series for the Knicks. So who knows? You guys could be bing-bonging into the finals.
Let's not bury the lead here. We got a celebrity on the show today.
Oh, yeah, we have O'Shea Jackson, a.k.a. Ice Cube, a.k.a. Laquan Jones. Dude, you showed up with a white T-shirt and a chain and a Dodger hat. Like, it is straight Ice Cube vibes from you right now.
To be honest, there's a picture on the net. I'm not going to say where it's at. Very, very long ago. I was probably like 14, 15 years old. I had straight Eazy-E swag. Like,
we've seen the Eazy-E photo.
You saw a little bit, but it was a little bit before that time where I was just like, I am very LA right now. So yeah, it's very influenced throughout my life.
Are you gonna like, give us an MC Ren look at some point?
No, on that deep. We're gonna keep it chilled today.
All right.
You're what's the movie where Ice Cube has kids?
Are we there yet?
That's kind of the Ice Cube era you're in right now.
Yeah.
This is post Friday.
Side note to all of this, right? I mean, you're talking about him going from NWA and F the Police to doing family comedies like that.
Which was a good comedy, which was nuts. It's a good movie.
It is. Like, I'm not knocking the movie, but it's just a wild career arc, I mean, Ice-T went from doing, songs about violence in the streets, like he's been playing a cop on TV for 30 years now, right? Like, it's just a weird career arc. You just never would have, like teenage me never would have expected that Ice Cube was going to be doing like family movies and that sort of thing. That's all. All right. It is May. It is late May. It is just before Memorial Day. So it's not maybe the heaviest show, but we did, on the suggestion of Mr. Florio here, come up with a kind of a what if list of questions. And this time around, I limited it to quarterbacks. So that means we can stretch this out and like do what if per positions. That sort of
just
thing.
Like Marvel.
Exactly. We're just gonna do spinoffs. That's all it's gonna be. So I don't know what will be our thunderbolts of this edition.
New Avengers.
We'll figure it out. I'll also do a little strategy session, a thing that, it won't be a regular thing, but I feel like every so often we should probably talk draft strategies for different formats, because there's so many different formats out there. So today I figured we would do salary cap leagues and sort of how to prepare for those, or the way we kind of approach those as well. So let's get started though with some news and rumors, basically some chatter that's going on around the league here in late May. And someone asked CeeDee Lamb about the Cowboys wide receiver room now that they have George Pickens there in Dallas. And Lamb said, well, we're both wide receiver ones. Ain't no A, B, none of that. That's cute. Florio, who's the Cowboys wide receiver one?
It is CeeDee Lamb. It will always be CeeDee Lamb. Until CeeDee Lamb hangs up the cleats, he is going to be there. So much so that they got rid of Amari Cooper for him. Like, look, CeeDee's being a good teammate here. He's being like, we got this new guy. He was a wide receiver one previously. He's a wide receiver one here too. We all know what he's saying and what he's doing. Yeah. But I do think that Pickens' arrival is a great thing for CeeDee Lamb, because there's the obvious, okay, last year defenses had to just keen in on CeeDee Lamb and that was it. And now you can't do that as much. But last season was the fewest amount of snaps he had from the slot in years. And that to me is where CeeDee Lamb is at his best and where he's eating. And it's why he had the 1,800-yard season 2 years ago. That was the most he's ever played in the slot. So now they have Pickens out wide, who could be that X and stuff. Now you're putting CeeDee Lamb in the slot maybe 60+% of the time, and he is just absolutely going to eat there. This stood out to me. There's going to be a change in this offense, because in the last couple of years under Schottenheimer, the wide receiver 2 for the Cowboys never topped 700 yards, and the top number 2 target was always Jake Ferguson. So I think that is where we see the change. Like, everyone else is going to lose volume to Pickens, but CeeDee Lamb is going to absolutely eat.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think there's much argument that CeeDee Lamb is still the alpha in this offense, considering what we have seen him do over the last few years. But, I mean, Laquan, Pickens did have moments, right? I mean, there was a reason we were on George Pickens, even with some shaky quarterback play in Pittsburgh. Now that he goes to Dallas, he's got Dak Prescott, which is definitely an upgrade over what he's had the last couple of years with the Steelers. What is the ceiling? I mean, he might not be the wide receiver one in Dallas, but can he be a wide receiver one for fantasy?
He'll have his spike weeks. I'll say that. I'm not going to be penning him as the wide receiver one and that stature and put him in that tier, but I could see him putting up more touchdowns than CeeDee Lamb this year, but he could still end up being a solid wide receiver 2 with some spikes, going into some weeks. But more so looking back with the formula of how it was with Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, I mean, you obviously had that first year that CeeDee Lamb touched ground, but he only had 5 games with Dak. But going to that second year with Amari Cooper kind of on that decline, that's when we started seeing like, oh, wow, Amari Cooper's starting to look like a 2 to CeeDee Lamb. And I think more so the understanding of that offense is that Amari Cooper was the old model of like a wide receiver surpassing 1,000 yards. That used to be the bar. That used to be like a thing of achievement. But you have to realize CeeDee Lamb is like a 1,600, 1,700 yard, type of wide receiver. He can get it done. Like Florio mentioned, he can get it done in the slot. He could get it done short yards, down the field. It doesn't matter. So being that you have George Pickens in this concoction with a healthy Dak Prescott, he could be a solid upper tier wide receiver 2 for a lot of fantasy folks out there.
Yeah, I mean, look, I still think there's going to be a lot of interest in George Pickens. Honestly, I think there's renewed interest in George Pickens because had he stayed in Pittsburgh, we would have drafted him. We would have had some interest. But just because you start looking at that quarterback depth chart and, you're just like, what? Like, really? I mean, right now, Mason Rudolph, as of this moment, is the QB1 there.
It's May 20th. Hopefully
it's May 20th. Right. I get that. But also, I mean, let's keep it a buck. There ain't many other options out there. There's that guy. He's still out there.
Voldemort.
Don't say it.
I'm not going to say it. Just there's that guy. That guy. We all know who I'm talking about. That guy is still out there.
Voldemort.
And that's kind of it. I mean, that's really their only, help us, that guy. You're our only hope. I mean, that's kind of it in terms of quarterback play in Pittsburgh. So
I don't think I would have drafted George Pickens if he stayed, though, to be honest. Just think about it with DK already there. Like, I don't think I would have had any interest in Pickens this year.
Maybe not. And I should look at what his current ADP is, right? Because chances are probably not
hold it up
at ADP. You wouldn't have any interest, but chances are a lot of people are thinking and feeling like you. And, I wouldn't be surprised if Pickens were to fall, right? And so, like, it's one of those things where you don't have any interest in George Pickens at ADP, but suddenly it's 2 rounds later, 3 rounds later, and George Pickens is still there, and you'd probably be like, all right, I'll take the swing on him.
Compared to the names that are probably available next to him, I think it would probably be a no-brainer at that point.
So right now, he's wide receiver 33, sandwiched in between Chris Godwin and Jalen Waddle. But that's right now with Dallas. I'm sure that's changed.
I've seen a lot of people's after the Cowboys traded for him. A lot of people were like, I had Pickens as like a wide receiver 3-4 in Pittsburgh, and I'm leaving him there on Dallas. And I'm like, I get that the situation is kind of similar. There's a target hog opposite and stuff, but Dak is a clear QB upgrade. And like, I agree with what LQ said earlier, right? Like, he's a wide receiver 3 who's going to have weeks as a wide receiver 1. I don't mind that as a wide receiver 3. Like, for me, I'd rather a wide receiver 3 that has the upside of finishing that high than someone like, say, I'm going to dunk on one of my own boys, Khalil Shakir, who like is a very safe wide receiver 3, but that's what he is,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think when you talk Pickens and Shakir, for instance, it is very much a difference between ceilings, right? That Pickens very much has the higher ceiling.
His ceiling is whatever he wants it to be. If he plays nice and Dak is healthy, it could literally be to the freaking moon.
I know we don't
which
project
Pickens shows
injuries. And CeeDee Lamb has been super durable, but God forbid something happens to CeeDee Lamb. We're talking about George Pickens being a top 20 wide receiver with top 10 upside every single week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then that also begs the question, though, Floria, with Dak Prescott himself, provided he can stay healthy, which, he's been banged up a little bit the last couple of years. But now that he's got Lamb and now that he has a legit second option, right? Like, it's not trying to lean on Jake Ferguson. It's not trying to squeeze some more juice out of like an aging Tyler Lockett or Brandon Cooks, somebody like that. Should he get a bump in ADP now?
Yes. And I think that Dak was already like in our early drafts and stuff, Dak was going in like the very last, like I got him in one of our drafts in the last round and I just missed on him in another in the last round. So like that was showing how far he was falling. I'm looking now on Underdog. He's going as QB 14. That feels more appropriate than like closer to QB 20, which at one point this offseason he was. Look, to me, he belongs in that big tier of QB 2s that could finish as QB 1s because we've seen Dak do it numerous times. And I think what is a little under the radar here is that the Cowboys revamped that offensive line. That was a big issue for them last season. And they don't have a great running game. So I know last year we were like, Dak's going to throw a bunch, and it didn't really translate. But like, Dak could throw a bunch again this year.
Yeah, he really could throw a bunch this year. The other part of this, Laquan, too, you talk about Pittsburgh versus Dallas and people maybe not moving Pickens a whole lot in their rankings. The Cowboys are going to score a lot more points than the Steelers are. They just are. Like,
absolutely.
Oh,
so,
100%.
Right. I mean, so Pickens might be alongside a target monster in CeeDee Lamb, but just the fact that the Cowboys are going to be more productive offensively bodes well for Pickens.
That doesn't harm. Like, if I get Pickens, I'm expecting a ton of touchdowns. Like, he's not going to have all the catches. It's going to be CD being fed. All his catches are going to come in chunks, and that's where his yards are going to come. That's exactly what happened to Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb in that second year of CeeDee's career. It was basically like, hey, I got more touchdowns than you, but you got more catches and yards than me. And we're both operating on a healthy offense. And if Dak is healthy, he's a top 5 quarterback. He's putting up 4,500 yards and he's damn near putting up 40 touchdowns. This is what he does when he's healthy. So now you add him an actual 2 when he didn't have an actual 2, when he had a declining 2 with George Pickens. How doesn't Dak go to the moon? Like, QB 14 is like a discount to me. Like, I am loving that I can wait on a quarterback like Dak to be my QB 1 and take me to the top.
Yeah.
I think.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think the perfect way to use Dak is to pair him with Caleb Williams or Justin Fields or Drake May. Take your favorite pick of whichever young upside QB there is and pair him with Dak. I mean, if you want to go that way, you can. But then you get the upside, and Dak is super safe.
So I'm looking, you mentioned the QB 14 on Underdog. I'm looking at Fantasy Football Calculator, and he right now is the QB 10.
He's rising. People are catching on then.
Here's
in
my
the
biggest question.
Last 2 weeks, he's jumped up a round in the ADP.
Here's my biggest question for you guys, because I've been looking at play caller stuff this week. Schottenheimer, the last 2 years with the Cowboys, top 5 in pass attempts. Previously, he's been an OC for like 15 years before that. He had never finished top 16 before. Is this his new style, or was this Mike McCarthy aided?
I think it's McCarthy aided. I think it's also a team that just couldn't run the ball last year.
Aging.
Yeah, I just don't think they could run the ball, and so it was like, hey man, we're gonna turn this over to the quarterback, and we're gonna throw the football because that's our best chance to win.
It's the most expensive thing to win.
Although here's the thing, I mean, are we convinced that the running game in Dallas is going to be that much better this year? I mean,
no.
Right?
There's higher upside, I think, but no.
Yeah, I mean, they brought in Javonte Williams, who, at this point we sort of know who. Hey, look, I'm a Javonte stan, right? But we know who he is at this point. I mean, they drafted a running back as well. But there's no guarantee that suddenly this is going to be just a great running game, whether it's Williams or Jalen Blue.
Well, the fantasy streets were talking over the weekend, and I saw a clip of Miles Sanders, a whole highlight tape of like, hey, he still got some juice, man. He looked explosive
not doing
in the passing game. Are we buying into Miles Sanders again?
Nope.
Nah, man.
If he leads the way, it's one of those things that like, everything else has gone terribly wrong, and like he'll be a floor play, and I'm just not interested in that.
No. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Not doing that.
I mean, Cowboys fans can get excited about their own teams, but we're not going to sit here and play fake like for fantasy. These guys are going to be relevant.
Look,
Blue is the one I'm most interested in.
For sure. Of anybody in the backfield, Blue seems to have the, he's got the most.
He has
upside.
the juice, the actual juice.
Yeah, but
no one in that backfield had juice last year. No offense to Rico or. By the way, is Zeke done? Like,
he's on the Chargers practice squad right now, I believe.
Oh.
So maybe not.
No, I don't.
Maybe not.
Make that
Yeah,
team,
I don't.
He can make the practice squad. His name's still buzzing.
Yeah.
Dude, when they signed JK, he's gone.
Oh my god. Don't wish that on JK.
It's May 20th, and JK Dobbins is still out there.
Still free agent.
And unlike the other guy, he wants a team.
Right, exactly. Like he's actively trying to sign with somebody for sure. Since we're talking about running backs, Devon Achane, he's got some big hopes for 2025. He says, quote, I feel like I left a lot of yards on the table last season. Laquan, when we talk about the Dolphins, it feels like we've been sort of meh on them so far this offseason. Are we sleeping on Achane? Because I know his ADP is good. It's not necessarily great. Are we underdrafting him right now?
I would say because I was on the board, for draft for best ball leagues just over this weekend because I've been a nut just going crazy about it just to see how these things fold out. I took him over Derrick Henry and CMC, and I felt good about it. So I feel like him finishing as a top 5, running back last year, we shouldn't be discounting that just based on the dysfunction that the Dolphins have because they still have that type of chaos going on into the season. I mean, the off-field issues, the slight jabs that Tyreek takes at Tua and Tua's availability and just...
And that the Colts take at Tyreek in their schedule release video.
And it's like, it's just a lot of chaos over there and you wonder if Mike is losing the dressing room. And it kind of feels that way. So a lot of people are just little hesitant on Dolphins players. Like I've just seen in the fantasy streets, my ears are very wide open to this about Jalen Waddle. Like we're questioning about his ability as a wide receiver. I mean, Tua availability is going to be the factor here. And with Devon Achane, there's nobody back there that I feel as though can take these touches away. Not even Jalen Wright doing, a little workout video we just saw over the weekend and Dynasty folks are going crazy about it. No, I am here for the Devon Achane season. And that is very, very hard for me to say, being that I was a huge freaking Raheem Mostert fan, a must start every single week. But looking at what he has the ability to do, and that's to be a pass catcher, and you look at the Dolphins these last couple seasons, they've been top 5 in receptions, being a running back into the end zone, people. This is going to be one of those factors where he's going to be a threat on the ground and through the air. So why are we taking a CMC that has a huge risk factor on there? And Derrick Henry, he's cool. He's great. Ton of yards, but he ain't getting the catches. And we're in PPR leagues. So I feel like, people are discounting him, and him being like RB7 and RB8 in some ranks is wrong.
So I get taking him over McCaffrey. I'd be split on taking Derrick Henry over him. Like, I'm not saying it's wrong. I would really have to think long and hard about it. I guess even though Henry's not getting you the catches, he's got that huge touchdown upside. That's sort of where he makes up for it, even if he's not catching the football, because, and we talked about this last year, when the Ravens get close, it's not like the Bills where they're just going to ram Josh Allen into the end zone, right? Like, they're not, the Ravens aren't doing that with Lamar Jackson. They're going to turn around and they're going to hand it to their battle tank standing back there, and they're going to let him
release the Kraken.
Right, they're going to just let him plow over people into the end zone. So that, I think, sort of makes up for whatever catches Derrick Henry doesn't get.
To me, I agree. I think Achane should be ahead of CMC. The big concern, though, is what Laquan said about Tua, because last year, with Tua, 23 fantasy points per game, RB1 in the game. Without him, less than 9 points per game. So that, to me, and the thing is, like, they addressed the backup QB by bringing in Zach Wilson. Like,
hey,
that is
Quinn Ewers too.
Quinn Ewers
in the seventh round.
If you guys are excited about that, but like
we are not.
Like, to me, that's I think he is RB6 feels about right. I think I agree with you, MG. Him and Henry is a legit debate. He's not cracking the top 4 for me. I think that is cemented.
I think that's a lot.
But yeah, Achane has that up. Like, he can be the RB1. So getting him in round 2 is awesome for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect his ADP to move significantly one way or another the rest of the way. It's been pretty flat the whole time. I think it's going to stay pretty flat the whole time.
It's already discounted, I think, because if we had the guarantee that Tua will play every single game next season, I believe he will be going in that first round. Like, he would be a lock. It's just that people are scared that Tua's availability is going to play a huge factor. And obviously, we've seen that train derail last season.
Sometimes your best ability is your availability.
Underdog ADP right now, the 7th spot lines up in ADP at least to be first round Puka, second round Devon Achane. That's your spot.
That's not a bad start. Time to play a little bit of what if. We're gonna be like the Marvel show. Was it the Seer, the Observer, the Watcher. That's what it is. I watched both seasons of that, and like the end. Spoiler alert, at the end of season 2, like the Watcher sort of gets like seen, and everybody's kind of like, dude, you've been watching this whole time. Like, why couldn't you do things to
why
help
didn't you
out?
help us?
Like,
so much tragedy has happened.
And like, it's like you sitting here playing Galactic World Star. Put the camera down and help me, man. Like, what are you doing? Anyway, I put together some questions, some what if questions about 5 different quarterbacks and teams, and we can kind of talk about what that means potentially for their fantasy fortunes this year. And we'll start with the one, Florio, that you put into Slack, which was the genesis of having this on the show here today. Florio, what if Michael Penix isn't good? What happens then?
That's my big, right? Because I think Bijan is going to be fine because he's going to get so much volume. Kyle Pitts, you don't really have to worry about because he's going so late in drafts that if he doesn't hit, okay. Like Drake London, though, you got to take late first, early second. Yeah. And to me, the difference between Drake London and every other receiver in that range is he is the only one with a big, like, okay, I'll give you Justin Jefferson as well, comes with a big QB question, but Justin Jefferson is Justin Jefferson. Chase, we know, has a good QB. Lamb, Puka, Neighbors, okay, I'll give you that too, maybe. St. Brown, like Nico, Brian Thomas, AJ Brown, they all have good quarterbacks. And then I was diving into Michael Penix Jr. stats last year. 3 starts only, very small sample size, 58% completion, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And the thing is, those games came against late season Giants, Commanders, Panthers. Like, those were bad defenses last year. And I know it's just 3 games, we're not going to make it. But now they have film on him and stuff and all of that. Plus, Drake London's huge end of season finale was propped up by a nearly 200-yard, 2-touchdown game against the Panthers. So, like, I really like Drake London as a talent, but that price it's giving me a little pause because we don't know what Michael Penix Jr. is. He could be good. He could stink. Like there's a wide range of outcomes.
Let me step in real quick, MG.
Please do.
I know you take a shots at London, but listen, if the bridge was to fall down, we still have Kirk Cousins in the building, baby. We are back. That's
you
all
watched Kirk Cousins play football last year.
We did watch those 5 games. They were terrible, but we watched the beginning as well. How he started off, and apparently the Kirk's defense, he was battling injuries. I mean, a shoulder, ankle, elbow. He's old. We get it, but he gets a full time to kind of recover and reset. If he's going to be sitting behind Penix, let's say the first month of football, and Penix is stinking up the place, and I took Drake London in the second round, I still have hope. That, Kirk Cousins will come in and give this offense some life. Like, it's more so of how does Penix fail? Like with all the weapons around him, how can he fail with all this weaponry on this offense? I mean,
we've said that about the Falcons QB 4 years in a row now.
Marcus Mariota. We said it about Kirk Cousins.
Desmond Ridder.
Listen,
I would say this, and Taylor Heineke, that was disgusting. That we wouldn't put that in the tier. How can he fail? I mean, Penix is way above those guys if we're actually going to look at his college production. Like, I really feel as though Penix cannot fail just based on the momentum that he's going into the season with the support of the Falcons, him being the starter in the driver's seat, getting this offseason with the keys saying he's the starter to go out there and ball out. Like, no, we got a small sample size last season, but don't be putting that bad juju on Drake London, Florio. I ain't appreciating that.
I mean, that's what this whole
I'm just
segment
saying,
is.
man, he wasn't great. And all the other guys, again, like, I'll take Russ over him. Like, I think he is the worst QB of all the top 2-round receivers. That's the only thing. I love Drake London. Like, that was my guy when he came out and stuff. But, like, I think what it is I'm so sick of chasing my tail with the Atlanta Falcons. Like, year in and year out, I get excited for this offense. And then I have egg on my face.
And I'm just breaking hearts, man. Who else?
But it's not. So, I mean, Drake London has disappointed before his, like, even last season, he was so until that end of season blow up where he had the 200. Like,
I got him as a wide receiver too. He wasn't my one. I mean, the discount we got on him. I mean, we just change and adjust at how we attack him this season. I'm not targeting him in the first round or the early second round. That was my guy last year. I tooted the horn.
You're not getting Drake London. You're not getting Drake London then.
No, it's one of those things.
So you agree with me?
No, I'm just saying. I'm gonna hit it and quit it. Like, I'm gonna keep it moving. Like, I just wouldn't want him to have a bad season. I just don't think I'm gonna.
I don't want him to.
That's why this is a what if, man. It's like a what if. What if this happened?
That was negative vibes. He just wanted somebody to blame for Kyle Pitts' downfall.
So again. I'm gonna say a thing that is probably gonna blow up in my face and guarantee that things go sideways. But I mean, Penix can't be worse than Kirk Cousins was last year, right?
He is a stronger. I think he's a better fit for someone with Drake London's talent. But
I mean, it can't be worse than. Because at some point it was just awful with Kirk Cousins.
Because Kirk couldn't move in the pocket. Like, at least Penix, you get some type of shift in mobility. It doesn't look like
a little bit of mobility. He's not a runner.
A little bit. He's not that mobile.
He's not a runner.
It's more so he can move. It's not like it's a struggle and aching and pain every time he moves left and right like Kirk. Like, I just feel like, with Zach Robinson on the sticks, man, you can't go wrong. He's from the McVay tree.
You have to take him over AJ Brown right now. There's no world where I'm taking Drake London. AJ Brown, for as I know, his numbers didn't look great on his head. His 17-game pace last year was 1,400 yards.
Yeah, all right, that's fair.
If he brings the book back, we're in.
Yeah, brings the book back. Next one, Laquan. What if CJ Stroud has hit his ceiling already?
Ooh, well, that will hurt because there's so much investment on CJ Stroud amongst all dynasty leagues. Like, we were talking about CJ Stroud his rookie year as like being as a top 5, a top 3 quarterback. And like, if he was to take a step back again this year, then it's kind of like dip out.
I mean, not even take a step back. Like, what if it just looks like last year did, right? Where it's like, 3,800 yards, 25 touchdowns.
With the questions of, like, they got the wide receivers in the draft. Like, all right, they got Higgins, they got Noel, but it's more so of like that O-line is what worries me. It's not his actual talent. Like, it's not even him. Like, it's just more so of just how is this offense going to operate and be able to execute on Sundays? And like, if he was to be bad again or have the same season he had last season, it's kind of like, all right, what do we do now? Like, do we like really start pivoting and get out of the way? And what if Bryce Young actually takes a step forward? I know I'm jumping the rundown. I don't think Bryce Young is on this rundown, the disrespect. But anyway, I just feel like I don't know what to do as a dynasty owner with CJ Stroud if he was to take a step back in year 3.
Also, I mean, I wonder, Florio, would it be taking a step back, or is it just that last year they had a running game, right? Like 2 years ago when Stroud was a rookie, I like Devin Singletary as a player, but, I mean, we sort of know what you know what he is, especially from those years in Buffalo. Yeah. Last year they had Joe Mixon, and Joe Mixon was very productive for them. Yeah. And so, like, that took some of the pressure off of Stroud having to throw the football a ton. What if this is just what it is now? If Mixon has another productive season, they have a slew of wide receivers. I'm not sure how they rotate all those guys in, but what if this just is all they ask of him now?
And that's my fear. And I want CJ Stroud to work out, but I'm more invested in his wide receivers. Like, I'm not drafting CJ Stroud this year because he doesn't run. And I think his upside is pretty limited because of the point that LQ said, like the O-line, like he really struggled under pressure last year. And I think there's an argument to be made that the O-line got even worse this offseason than it did better. But I think what goes under the radar a bit is that in his rookie year, CJ Stroud was the best deep ball thrower in the NFL. He was not that last year. And part of that, I think you could blame on the O-line and the being under pressure and not having time. I also think part of it is Stroud probably caught the league off guard his rookie year. And then the league adjusts in year 2. So now we need to see if that change could be made. Can he get back to being the most efficient downfield thrower or even close to that? Otherwise, if it's a lot like last year, the numbers will probably look like last year's. But I don't think he's reached his ceiling. I think his ceiling would be if you put him behind like the Lions O-line and then he'll throw for like 5,000 yards. But that's not going to happen because the Texans just ignored the O-line and got rid of his one-star player.
They made some moves. They just sold and traded away their best piece on the O-line. That was the problem.
Yeah, just negative moves.
I just don't understand the thought process. But
I'm no footballologist, but that just seems like a bad thing for a guy who was consistently under pressure last year. So, yeah. It was a thing, right? Because remember, like 2 years after the rookie season, the consensus was, man, Houston really got it right with CJ Stroud and Carolina really effed up with Bryce Young. And then after year 2, we're like, oh, wait, maybe hold the phone on that. Maybe it's a bit closer than we anticipated. And so now year 3, we'll see where the trajectories of both those quarterbacks end up going for sure. Florio, what if Tyler Shough is better than we expect him to be?
Then all of us on this podcast are going to have egg on our face because we've all been pretty vocal that we are out on this.
Do not want Saints, right?
Yeah. No. I mean, if he's better than expected, I guess Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave skate by as viable fantasy options again. But they're going to be on someone else's teams because I am not the one that's going to risk because of where, like, you still have to pay maybe not full price for these guys, but Kamara right now in best ball is going in the 6th round. Okay, that's a little bit of more of a discount than I thought. And then Olave is going even higher than that, I believe. So like I'm just not all that interested in the Saints. And look, hopefully Tyler Shough or Spencer Rattler or one of these guys is the answer. Whoever drafts these guys, kudos to you if they hit.
You know, if you hit on them, then I tip my hat. Like I tip my hat. I respect the process, but for me, I'm out. I can't.
Yeah, like I will not be venturing in any of those type of experiences this summer.
Yeah.
Nope. MG, before you ask this next one, I'm just gonna kick back.
Oh yeah, no, because this was a question for one person and one person specifically.
Wow.
Laquan,
Let me adjust my chair as well.
Laquan Jones. What if Bo Nix regresses?
He will not regress. We'll talk in absolutes. He will not. What is this even doing on the rundown? First of all, like, why are we questioning Bo Nix?
Because this is how people said about CJ Stroud after year one, right? Like, we're midway through the season. He looks like a vet. He looks like a polished vet. The sky's the limit for CJ Stroud. And now we're like, oh, maybe him and Bryce Young, maybe it's a battle there. So like, why can't we have the same question about Bo Nix?
Because he has a no line. That's why. He has a different coach, a different play caller, Sean Payton on the sticks. I really feel as though Bo Nix can't fail in this system. I feel as though it's a conservative system with a running back like RJ Harvey, who is going to freaking run to the moon. Like, I cannot be more invested on this offense and them adding Pat Bryant. They added more pieces. They didn't delete how Houston did. They didn't delete the old line. They didn't delete wide receivers.
Houston added last year.
What?
And it didn't work out.
Houston added last year.
They added a bunch of wide receivers and 2 of them got hurt. I mean, I'm not going to put that juju on Bo Nix, but that would be the only reason why he would regress. If Cortland Sutton ain't out there, he will regress. If Evan Ingram can't stay healthy more than 7 games, he will regress. The major pieces that are intact right now, there's no way he can fail. And I'm willing to talk in absolutes, which I try to avoid. I try to avoid talking that way, but when it comes to Bo Nix, the Bo-Leavers better believe that he is coming this season as a top 5 quarterback.
Top 5 quarterback.
5.
Top 5. So top 5. All right. So I mean, all right, let's go. Let's game this out, right? Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson,
Joe Burrow,
Jaden Daniels, Joe Burrow. So what, Jalen Hurts is out of the top 5?
Oh, yes. Hopefully they ban that tush push. I'm surprised we didn't mention this, but hopefully that is gone and out of the wind.
It does seem like momentum is trending that way, right? Toward
it does, which I think is stupid. That'd be like telling Steph Curry he can't shoot threes.
I mean, just like again, I keep saying it. I keep saying this is a moment in time in the NFL, and like, at some point it's just not going to be effective anymore. You're not going to have Jalen Hurts squats. Was it 500 pounds, 600 pounds, whatever it is? Like, he's not going to play forever. It's just
But he's squatting 600 pounds has nothing to do with the tush push because he's in the air when they're pushing him. So therefore, get him out of there.
I mean, he's running. I mean, he is like, he's getting a push, but he's also pushing on his own.
You can literally put that ball in your hands, my hands, and have Dallas Goedert or Kenny Gainwell push us into the end zone in the air. Like, it's gonna happen.
Jalen Hurts could squat 600 pounds. That's why it's unstoppable.
Jarquez Hunter squats 600 pounds. Do we want to get on that subject of guys who could squat?
Jarquez Hunter could run it in from a yard out. Like, I mean,
and he will.
2 of the 3 of us can't fight kangaroos, so we're not out. So we're not in trying to like run the ball in from a yard out. Like, I just imagine I would get broken in half. Like, I would be folded up like a chair at a church picnic. I don't want any part of that.
In you, MG, what are you doing?
I don't know if you guys feel, I know we're off topic here. I don't know if you guys feel this way. I think Jalen Hurts takes a huge hit, but like the other QBs who score a lot of rush, like Josh Allen, for example. I know I'm a homer, but like he was scoring a ton of rushing touchdowns before the tush push, and I think he'll do so afterwards. Whereas Hurts touchdowns are like tush push dependent.
His value is very dependent on that, because if he's not scoring all those rushing touchdowns and you're looking at a guy who's going to get you like 3,000, 3,500 passing yards, not a high touchdown number.
Last season.
I know. I mean, he had 3,000 and, previously.
On Bo Nix, though, I did, out of pure curiosity, I went through it yesterday. There's been, I think, 12 rookies in NFL history to have a touchdown percentage of 5% or higher in their first year. Mm-hmm. And like half of them maintain that rate, and then other half come like crashing back down. That is my fear with Bo Nix.
There's a 50-50 chance this goes sideways. It's a coin flip.
5% is pretty high.
5% is pretty high. That's a high touchdown rate. That is a high touchdown, especially for an offense that besides
Jaden also
Cortland
did have a
Sutton,
5% one, though, and I'm all in on Jaden.
Yeah. see the bias. Come on.
But the difference is that Jaden gave us 800 rushing yards.
He gave 800 rushing yards, and I would take Washington's wide receiver room over Denver's. 100%.
I would take Denver as a whole team over the Commanders. I mean, their offense is elite. Their defense is one of the best.
Elite?
I would definitely take
the Commanders were in the
their
NFC
offense is
Championship
elite.
game.
No, I said their offensive line is elite. Their defense is elite. They're top of the table when it comes to takeaways, sacks, pressures, and all that stuff. So
I don't care about defense.
But
we're talking
defense
offense on this.
We're
We're talking offense, though.
All right. Well, I still stand on Bo Nix will not regress. I mean, we can clip this. I mean, we're at the 41 mark. Make sure we get a clip of this of saying Bo Nix will be top 5 quarterback when it comes January when we're talking back on the pod.
All right. He's just like,
he's very good. I just, for some reason, I keep having a bit of doubt of like feels like last year everything kind of broke right for him. But I don't know. He's a hard one for me to figure out.
Argument and the perfect marriage for Payne, man.
In the words of Laquan, clip it, write it down, take a picture of it, send it to your friends. Like, it doesn't matter. He's got it there. All right. Last one. Florio, what if the Steelers actually do go into the season with Mason Rudolph at quarterback?
And I'm drafting Caleb Johnson, and that's it. Like that's it. Because I know he's got a good arm. He's better deep ball than Kenny Pickett. That was the storyline 2 years ago. I don't care. But it's not gonna. Although I will say this, right? Like, it's May 20th. I know we continue to be like, eventually Aaron Rodgers is gonna sign, but like next month, football stuff happens, right? Like the teams get together, they work out. And I know last year he was like in Egypt or wherever he was instead of being at minicamp and all that. But like, I don't know. If you're the Steelers, that like you have to have a deadline, right? That like if you're not signed with us by this date, we're moving on.
And that's the thing for me is that at some point the Steelers are going to be like, "Hey man, we just can't wait around for you anymore, right?
Yeah,
we got to start. We got to start working guys out. We got to start putting, installing things. I mean, I know it's May. I get it. It's not Memorial Day yet, but you got to start getting stuff together, right? I mean, before you know it, it's going to be July and training camp's going to be around the corner. And at some point, like you gotta stop waiting. Laquan, I don't actually think they're going to start week 1 with Mason Rudolph, but the old adage, if the season started today, Mason Rudolph is your QB1 in Pittsburgh.
Yikes for DK Metcalf. He is going to be crashing out at the utmost high on the sidelines if he does not get the ball placed where he needs it to be. I mean, we saw that with Geno Smith, which was one of the nicest guys out there, and that kind of led to the breakup of Seattle. So it's like, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't even know if this is a hot take if we see, Will Howard go out there very early, to start out, because we've seen enough of Mason Rudolph. Like, he went to Tennessee and got worse. He didn't get better. He ended up on the same level as Will Levis. Like, I just don't see a reality of them going out there all 17 games, getting to the playoffs with Mason freaking Rudolph.
I will say this, with this quarterback room being what it is, Mason Rudolph, Will Howard, Skylar Thompson. If this really is what the Steelers are riding with this year, Mike Tomlin's streak of not having a losing record is over.
It's over.
At this point, call up Big Ben. Give the fans something to root for.
God. Not broken arm Ben.
Man.
Hey, he survived Bane. Right? Like he could survive this.
Jesus.
So, Dark Knight Rises. I know this isn't what we're going to talk about, but a madman wearing a mask who beat the snot out of Batman blows up a football stadium during a game. And the most unrealistic part of that whole thing was Hines Ward returning a kickoff for a touchdown. That was the part I was like, no.
Just that part.
No, stop. But, that was the part where I was just like, I'm out. Suspension of disbelief over.
Favorite movies, superhero movies is Dark Knight, all that. But like, where's the army during all this? Like, all they do is send in the NYPD and that's it. Like, if a whole city was taken over and like they were now the politicians in this city, I think like at least the National Guard or something would show up, right? Like,
I mean, Bruce Wayne is a billionaire. You would think he could donate some of his money to help solving the problems of Gotham. Instead, he dresses up like a bat and punches people with mental health problems.
Although, how cool is the scene where
That's what he does.
he flies in and the cops on foot just charge at like
Like, what do you think's
it's
gonna
crazy.
happen here?
Like it's the 1400s again or whatever, like medieval times. And that's how we're going to war.
Yeah, like, what do you think's gonna happen here? It's not gonna be good. All right. That's enough of that. Oh, by the way, I guess a little bit of housekeeping. Cheat sheet actually gonna be off this week. We are instead going to bring you a special interview with a special guest. So we won't have the cheat sheet this week. We'll be back with you next week. So, it gives you guys extra time to watch Extraction if you haven't watched it yet.
Oh, so we're going to push that to next week?
Yeah, we'll push that to next week.
Because I was going to watch it tonight, but I'll wait till next week.
You can wait. I watched it earlier. Maybe I can watch it again. It's,
if there's
is it good enough where you would enjoy watching it a second time?
Possibly. Now it's time for a new segment, something I call Strategy Session, as I mentioned at the top of the show. Not a thing we'll do every week, but every once in a while, with so many different formats out there, everyone's a little bit different and sort of changes how you approach the draft. So today I felt like a good chance to start with the salary cap, right? I mean, most people are familiar with the traditional snake draft. You get your pick, comes back around to you, so on and so forth. Salary cap leagues, auction leagues, depending on your terminology, very popular, but not everybody has tried them. And the basics are this: if you don't know about them, you get a fake budget, generally $200, and your job is to bid on players, bid on their salaries, and fill out your entire roster using that $200. Now, once you draft, that part goes away and it's all gone. But it does sort of change how you do things. So, Laquan, for you, when you are in a salary cap draft, how do you approach them? Do you have a specific plan in mind when you go into one of these?
I will say, I've only been in one, and my plan was to save as much money as I could. And that didn't work out because I started seeing good players fly off the board. And I'm like, I got to get in here, man. So I'm dropping like 40% of the budget on like a Austin Eckler when he was scoring all those touchdowns. And then you're looking at your budget like, oh crap, I need more players. Like I've always found myself just watching other people watch their tendencies of like how they go about. Like when a guy's up on the board and you're like, all right, who's going to drop like $20 on it? Like, who's going to drop like 30 on it? Like you just start to see, but I've actually ventured into more of these leagues. I've got a couple coming up this summer, so I'll let you guys know and call back, what my actual strategy will be this year.
I would say, Floyd, for me, that is a hard part, right? Is sort of trying to find that balance between not just spending a ton early, and then, suddenly you spent a lot and you've got a bunch of spots to fill versus trying to wait and then seeing a whole bunch of good players off the board. Have you figured out how to strike that balance appropriately?
I think it's different for each person, but for me, I'm always like one of my home leagues for a while now has been a salary cap league. And when I first started, I went with the balance approach. Like, okay, everyone else is going to blow their money and I'm going to have a team of like 3rd through 5th round players. And that seems good on its head, except for one thing. Your ceiling is very limited. Like your floor might be the best in the league and you'll make the playoffs. But that's where I would always run into my issues is when I'm in the playoffs now, I'm playing against the other best teams in the league and they all had higher ceilings than me. So maybe I could scrape by a week or two, but it's hard to win 3 in a row, hoping that your opponent's upside doesn't hit. The other issue that I would always run into is that most people had already spent a lot of their money. So like I was able to get these middle round players for cheaper than I thought. But then at the end, I'm holding a bunch of money and I'm spending it on my bench and stuff like that. And then I know having a loaded bench sounds fun until you're just debating every week who to start at 6 different positions. So now I'm the opposite. I go all in. I want like 2 or 3 studs. I'm spending almost all of my money on my starting lineup. Because think about how many guys you add and drop throughout the season and stuff. So like my bench will be all upside players for like $1, $2, something like that. And then I'm just churning them until I find stuff that sticks. And but that I've had a lot more success going that route. You're a little bit more dependent on a couple of players then. And if they get hurt, it stinks. But I've had more success and have won a title and stuff in my home league doing that versus when I was going the balanced approach. I would make the playoffs and get bounced pretty quickly.
Yeah, so it basically comes down to two things. Either you go kind of a studs and scrubs approach where you get one or two really high-level guys, and then you just kind of fill in the rest however you can, or you do kind of go the balanced roster approach and that sort of thing. So, Laquan, I know you said you've only done one of these and you're starting to kind of get more into it. Just right now, as you're sitting here looking at it, is there any particular position that you'd be willing to spend up for? You going to go big like on a top-level running back? Do you go and try to get yourself a high-level tight end? Any position generally that you're like, okay, I'm willing to kind of break the bank here?
Quarterback. Like I think you could spend that dime on a Jaden Daniels, a Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, the top quarterback guys, because they're going to give you the mobility. They're going to give you your bang for your buck that you paid for, instead of going for other positions that I kind of feel like for wide receiver, it could be really hit or miss based on the quarterback questions, based on the offense questions, based on the health of the wide receiver itself. So I think there's just, more bang for your buck going after the quarterback, so you can have a captain of this ship to kind of lead you the way.
Yeah, that's another one. Quarterback is one I struggle with, because sometimes I will go out and spend up for one. But there are times, here's the thing, not always, but I'll go out and spend up and get a quarterback, and then I'll sit, and then suddenly you're, kind of later on in the draft, and, if you're a Bo Nix shows up, and like somebody gets Bo Nix for like $3.
$40.
And you're like, oh, it always happens where like I spend up, I get a quarterback, and then, next thing you know, however, Baker Mayfield goes for like $2-3. And you're like, oh, that would have been nice.
Yeah. That's the most frustrating part of this entire experience of doing this type of league, because it's like, why?
Yeah.
How? When?
Yeah.
It's just more so of just questions of like, why did I do this?
The biggest thing is like in salary cap is to be ready at all times, because it's happened a lot in my home league where like someone will spend like $75 on Jamar Chase and everyone's like, oh my God, he went for so much more. And then like while everyone's fawning over that, you sneak in like a Mike Evans for like 30 something bucks. And like, or the timing, you always want to be, I don't think you want to be like the first person in a tier. You don't want to be last. You kind of want to know when to strike. For me though, it's wide receiver, because I look at like that big investment as my first round pick. And like, I'm using my first round picks on wide receivers. So like, and those are the players I'm willing to blow past. Like if I have $60 for Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and those high end wide receivers, but they're going for 70. Okay, I have to adjust to the room now if I want these guys. So that is the position I'm usually most willing to spend on.
Yeah, I thought you said something truly interesting too, though. Like, this is a format where I think having tiers is very important, right? And because you're not really ranking players, 1 through 50 or whatever. You're breaking them down into a group. So as you mentioned, for wide receiver, right? If you miss out on Jamar Chase, but you want a top tier wide receiver, all right, well, you can still bid on Justin Jefferson. You can still bid on, Amon-Ra St. Brown or somebody like that, and sort of get a guy that you feel like has similar upside that maybe isn't going to come with a big price tag of a guy like Jamar Chase. But speaking of that, I mean, Florida, is there any specific player that you're willing to just say, screw it, I don't care how much this guy's going for, I'm going to spend whatever it takes to get him?
Yeah, real last point on the tiers. I've seen it happen, but say there's like top 5 running back. I've seen it happen before where that 5th running back will go for more than the other 4 because everyone in the room now is like, this is the last elite running back on the board. I need to spend so like, that's why it really comes into play. For players over budget, Malik Neighbors. That's going to be my guy this year. I've decided. I think Malik Neighbors belongs with Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb in that wide receiver 2 conversation because he was so good last year with the worst quarterback room. Like, if you dared someone to make the worst possible QB room right now, they might make up what the Giants had last year. Like, that might happen. And yeah, I think Russ, Dart, Winston, they're all big upgrades. So for me, I think Winston might mess around and finish as the wide receiver 1 this year. Winston Neighbors. So for me,
I'm about to say,
that's going to be my guy this year.
All right. We very much know that for Laquan, it's going to be Bo Nix. He's just going to break the bank.
Puka?
Is it Puka? Is it Puka, though?
It's Puka.
Is it?
100% Puka.
Yeah. That makes sense. I see. Here's the other part of this, and I don't know if the three of us are ever going to end up in a salary cap league together, but part of being in a league like that is knowing who your league mates really like and throwing those names out there just to get people to, because a lot of times there are players that I don't really have an interest in, but I will nominate them to be bid on just because I want other people to spend money, right?
Yeah.
Like this year, I'll probably throw out Saquon in a lot of drafts because I don't have an interest in Saquon at the price I know he's going to go for. But a lot of people are really interested. So I'll put Saquon out there and hopefully get somebody to spend $65 on him.
I would love to be that guy.
And I'll wait to get the guy I want.
Yeah, just kind of sit in the back and just nominate guys that you have no interest for, knowing guys are going to just go completely bonkers for. Like, my first move will be Josh Allen. Like, obviously, sorry, Florio. I want you to spend $100.
If I have a quarterback, I'm throwing out QB. If I have two elite wide receivers, I'm throwing out receivers. So I wanted to ask you guys, though, because Puka and Neighbors are like the two wide receivers that I am enamored with in the late first round. But I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, would I be crazy to rank those guys ahead of Amon-Ra St. Brown?
No.
You wouldn't be crazy.
I don't think you're crazy because I think this is going to be a big Jameson Williams year. No Ben Johnson. They've brought in other guys. Like, I don't think that's totally crazy at all.
No.
Because I just think they have more up. Like, St. Brown is so elite because he's so safe. But like those other guys, I think their upside is higher.
Yeah.
I think they have a better chance of moving inside the top three, finishing as a top three wide receiver than Amon-Ra. So, like, he's more so outside the top five, in my thinking.
Right. And I still think he's going to have a good year. But no, I think the upside for Puka and for Neighbors is a little bit higher, especially because there's less target count. I mean, I know Puka's got Devontae Adams. Malik Neighbors has
both going to eat. I cannot wait until week one. Let's go. Like, I'm so hyped for everybody. It's like I cannot wait for everybody to just witness greatness. Like, just to witness an offense that was supposed to be ran at a high level at all times. And here we go.
I'm just gonna throw this out.
Which offense are we talking about now? Because like you've told us that Michael Penix can't fail, that Bo Nix can't fail. Like, which offense are we speaking of right now?
It's the Rams, man.
From the seventh spot in ADP, you could start Puka, Achane, Devontae Adams. Like, that lines up perfectly.
Wow.
Would you ever do that, Laquan? Would you take both Puka and Devontae?
Yes, because there was a year that I took Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp.
Okay.
I was almost damn near going to take Brandon Cooks as well because they almost had three at 1,000 yards.
I'm not opposed to doing it. The only thing I don't love is using a first and third on.
Yeah,
if like Devontae was going like a round later, I'd be all in on that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair for sure. So there it is. I mean, it's just a little sort of primer, if you will, on salary cap leagues. The hard part about it is it's hard to do mock drafts for salary cap leagues because
how can you do that?
They're so different, right? Because everything that happens is sort of based on people's preferences and how people feel about certain players and the order in which they're nominated and that sort of thing. So it's really hard to do a mock draft. I've tried it, but they bear no resemblance to what actually happens when you get
nominate
into
a kicker?
Yeah, absolutely. You absolutely do.
Well,
there's someone in my league, in my home league, that
do it.
only nominates kickers the entire like. That's what he does. Defenses and kickers.
Yeah. And it's what's funny about that too is that because sometimes you'll nominate a kicker, and like if you're nominating a kicker, usually I'll nominate a kicker that I actually kind of want because you put him out there for $1 and either everybody sits back and you get the kicker you want for $1, or somebody bids up and you're like, all right, well, you can take this guy for $2. I don't care. I'll find another kicker. Right? Like,
that's exactly the guy in my home league strat. He'll all the top kickers until he gets one, and then all the top defenses until he gets one. Like that's his approach every year.
So, no, if you want to put him out there first, that's part of the game, man. That's how
I'm telling you though, if I do one with ULQ, I'm throwing out Bo Nix, Puka, Devontae, all these guys away.
We're gonna dig in your pockets early. We're gonna just dig in your pockets.
Sitting back like, don't do it. Right. They're testing you.
Dig in your pocket. Like Laquan will be, basically he'll get like 3 or 4 guys early, and then he'll just like sit out for the next hour because he won't.
I won't have any money. I'll be stuck for like $40 like I was the last time I played, and just don't know what to do with it.
He would show up to the draft hungover, buy the first like 7 players nominated, and then leave. Like that was what he would do.
It's a way to get in and out. Be done. Just wash your hands of it and go on.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So we'll do some more strategy sessions for other formats as we go throughout the summer for sure. Reminder, no cheat sheet this week. We will have a special guest, so that should release on Thursday at some point, probably in the afternoon. So stay tuned for that, and we'll be back with you the following week. Actually, next week, a little bit of a different schedule as well, because Memorial Day on Monday. So our normal Tuesday pod probably won't be out until Wednesday. And then we'll figure the rest of it out from there. Hopefully, Florio is in good health and condition and shape after the Knicks, play a couple of games in the Eastern Conference Finals. If he's not with us, you know what happened. So there it is. In the meantime, that'll do it for this edition of the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. Stay happy, safe, and healthy. Do good and live well. Enjoy the days, everybody, and we will talk to you again on Thursday.